Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Carlton People. On today's episode, we've got Paul Barbazza. Now Paul, you would have recognised his voice from the Carlton Show, one of the staples of fan media really, Paul. We were talking a little bit off camera. I was saying when I was away, you were the voice, that you and Andy and Gex were the voices of the podcast world for Carlton fans. So, mate, welcome. Good to have you on.
Thanks, Terry. Glad to be here, and I'm glad I was the voice and not the face, because the voice is probably better than the face for people to hear or see. So.
Well, we touched on it before. I was saying, Andy's obviously he's very media trained. He's a professional. This is what he does. Gex struck me as someone who really looked into the analytical side, the numbers. But you were. When something had to be said for the way it was, that was you, and that resonated a lot with myself and I'm sure many others.
Yeah, well, I said to Andy when the program first went to air, when we were trying to put it together, I basically asked him what it was going to be about, what's expected, and he said to me, "Be yourself, just be yourself." Mm. And I said, "How much of myself can I be?" He said, "Be yourself without sort of." What's the word? Where you can get sued.
Without being
for your comments.
Yes.
So basically,
defamatory.
Yeah, exactly. So be yourself. Talk as if we're talking at the pub. We can, as you know, we do swear a little bit on that show. Might be a few beers that glide down the throat.
What was the swear jar up to at the end? Because I remember that was the thing you thought about. You were talking about it.
Yeah, it was in the thousands, Terry. It was in the thousands. But it was just basically be yourself, tell the truth, be raw, be honest.
Yeah.
And, because I think people pick up when you're a little bit dishonest and when you're probably not saying what you really want to say. Now, I'm sure there's lots of things we could have said along the way about certain things on and off the field. And that's what you've got to be careful of. Mm-hmm. They're the things you've got to be careful of. Because you know what? I'm no genius. You're no genius. Everyone out here that watches football, thinks they're a genius.
Yep.
But realistically, it's the coaches, it's the people at the club that run the club. They know they've got all the analytical stuff. They've got all the stats. They've got all the intel. We don't.
Yeah.
We only see it from our point of view, but we all think we're right.
Yeah.
And we're not.
The only data we have is just what we see on game day.
That's it.
And even then, so we watch a game on television. At the moment, obviously, we're not allowed to go to the footy, so you can't see behind the play footage. So you've just got to see what the broadcast shows you, and you're limited in a way.
Oh, very limited for sure. You can't see what's happening off the ball.
Yeah.
You see certain things that I read certain things that people want our club or our team to do, but they might be doing that, but you can't see it on the box.
No.
And we're actually not social distancing, but anyway.
We'll get there.
We won't worry about that. We've both been tested. We're good to go.
We're good to go. Mate, I listened to you on the Carlton Live show the other night with Trev and Johnny. Yep. You talked about, I guess, your Carlton story as well. But so a family tradition was passed down to you. Talk to me about the early days, like your first few memories.
From my first memories.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I really wish I had have remembered 68 and 70, which I didn't, because 68 I was only 4 years old and 70 I was 6. So I do have friends who remember 70 and the same age as me, but I don't have that same memory. So can you believe the first memory I have is 1971 grand final, Hawthorn St Kilda.
Wow.
1971 grand final. I remember distinctly listening to it on the transistor, on the radio. Transistor. God.
What's a transistor?
Radio.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, I remember Peter Hudson missing the in that grand final. I think he was going for his 151st goal, and it was going to be a record.
Yeah.
And he actually kicked on the man on the mark.
Wow.
And so he has the equal amount of goals in a season. But that's the first game of footy I remember.
Yep.
72 grand final is very, very clear to me. Again, I was a little bit young to go. I was pissed off I didn't go.
Yeah.
I recall that. My dad went with all his mates.
Yep.
And I understand now why he did, because they would have gone to pubs and got on the terps. And
yep.
So unfortunately for me, I missed out on that one. But I remember listening to that grand final, sitting on mum and dad's washing machine, right?
Yeah.
out in the laundry and again with the radio and just listened all day. And I think Jesselenko and Nichols kicked 7 each, and I think Walls kicked 6. And I think that's a record in the grand final, I think, if it still stands, 177 to 150. It was a massive score, 177 to 152, something like that. And, we played footy. Those memories are that Carlton came to play football. The following year, Richmond came to punch our lights out, and they got the chocolates in 73.
Right.
They knocked out Nichols, Southby, Waite, I think. That's the infamous, I think, Laurie Fowler and Neil Barn. They really got into us that day, and they knocked us off our game.
Yeah.
And then, they are the first sort of memories of Carlton that I remember.
Yeah.
And then, boy, did the memories get better.
Yeah.
Just the players that, I think I mentioned it on the show the other night with Trevor and that. If you look at the team of the century, I reckon I've just about seen more than 3/4 of that side play.
That's insane.
So, there's only probably Sabi Valance, and I can't remember, there was probably another player in there that made it and that I didn't see. So I reckon I've seen, I think in that side, would there have been, did they put 22 and 3 emergencies?
I don't think they put him, I don't know is the answer. I don't think they would have put him.
I reckon I've seen at least 20 of those players play.
Yeah, right.
So that in itself is one of the biggest highlights that I can tell the people that is, the amount of highlights, well, countless.
Yeah.
Countless highlights.
It's fascinating.
Basasto's goal and mark of the year in 81 or 82 it was, that infamous great mark he took at Princess Park against Geelong. Well, he soared. I was there that day, obviously. The great goal he kicked in a final against Geelong when he smothered it, got up, went round, kicked the goal. That was goal and mark of the year to the same player.
Yeah.
And then just memories of just super players. Jesselenko is just a super player. I'm not sure if he gets lauded as much as he probably should.
Yeah.
He played today in a heartbeat.
Yeah, right.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Jezza?
Yeah.
Oh, special player.
Athletic?
Special player.
Yeah, right.
Athletic. Could play down back, up forward. I think he kicked 100 in 1970. But equally as good down back later in his career. Went on to coach, obviously, and sadly left the club over the summer of 79, which killed me. If you talk about bad memories, that's one of my worst memories ever.
Was it brewing and then it happened, or was it a shock to?
So when did I say 79? I would have been 15. I've never been into the politics of the club, so I probably just watched football.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. It all started with George Harris, I think, the president, who may have well either left or got sacked. Jazza must have been very close to George Harris, backed him up, said if he's going, I'm going, and one thing led to another, and that was it. But I don't have a lot of memories of John Nichols, who's probably arguably our best player we've ever produced. In some ways, but individuals like just all over the park, mate. Wayne Johnson, big time player.
Yeah,
big time player.
Hear about him.
Wouldn't let you down.
Wouldn't
let you down. Would not.
Was he someone that worked like during the season? Was work his way into it, but then finals time it seemed like he had.
Big games.
Always that extra.
The big games. The big games, right. The Dominator was there. If you needed something special, he was there. Yeah. He got the team going. He was very pumped. He came from Paran, the VFA, and I think it was maybe a 23-year-old or something like that. So he'd been around in the VFA for a little while, but when he came on, it was on. Buckley, I'm not sure if Jim Buckley makes out. I don't think he made out team of the century, but still a very important player. And then you get the Kernahan days, Bradley days, Silvani days, both Silvanis. Don't remember Serge. Don't remember him at all, actually, but he might have finished by the time I really got into
it and the memory starts
Walls,
kicking in. Yeah.
Mackay, these names that you guys hear about, I saw them all.
Yeah.
I saw them all.
From start to finish for the majority of their careers.
Bruce Doull. God, how can I forget him? Bruce Doull's my favourite player.
Okay.
He is my favourite player.
Why?
I get it. I actually get.
I'm saying it, mate. It's great. No, it's I want to explore it because we are where we are at the moment. We're in this modern era, and like I said, I'm that last generation who's been handed down the stories, and so I've still got that real sense of pride. And we get to today. I think I've got an 11-year-old he's 11 years younger than me, my younger brother, and he couldn't give us stuff.
Really, yeah.
He couldn't give us stuff because he hasn't had early memories and heroes.
Yeah. It's very early as a kid. As a kid, I don't know what I would have been if I'd have come through this era.
Yeah.
But Bruce Doull typifies what I consider to be an honest footballer.
Yeah.
Fair. Played the game just to his best of his ability.
Yeah.
Rarely got beaten.
Yeah.
Rarely got beaten. He had all the time in the world, ball in his hand. He'd have all the time in the world. Just a special player. Comes around once in a lifetime, I believe. Like he's when you talk about backman, pure backman, he's the best I've seen.
Yeah, right.
Right. He would
Carlton or non-Carlton,
he's the best I've seen. He's the man. He's the man. Bruce was the man, and good luck playing on him and getting beat.
Yeah.
He'll beat you.
Yeah.
He'll beat you. That's his trademark was the role. The role for the team was go out and beat your opponent in those days. Obviously, these days things are a lot different.
A lot more man on man. You mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when Bruce was coming over a pack, that fist and it'd go 20 rows deep. That's where it was going. That you knew where it was going. He'd kill the ball, no problems. But just as good with the ball in his hands, and just a special player. You could make that defence around Bruce Doull. It was Jeff Southby, Curly Austin was there. Then later it was Perovic at centre half back, but Mackay.
Yep.
That back. We always had a trait of a really great backline, but Bruce was the man. To me, he was just a special player. No nonsense.
Yep.
No nonsense. No fanfare. No nonsense. Didn't speak to the media. Very shy type. But very honest, very true, very much what I would like to see, still in the game today. Just no fanfare, just go out there and play footy, mate.
Yeah, without wanting to, you've got to respect a guy like Brucey Doull. But some of the traits you just described there remind me of what I think of when I see Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah, look, we could be talking about Jacob Wiedering in 10 years' time as the best backman, that Carlton's produced. He's got a long way to go, but boy, he's portfolio
just those traits
at the
you
moment,
said, like the no media, the no nonsense. You don't see him on Instagram, on stories.
No,
you don't see any of that. And he's got a long way to go to get anywhere near Brucey.
No, he's certainly a player. No. Mate, he's certainly a player that I am so glad that we picked up.
Yeah.
We could have picked up.
There was Wiedemann in that draft.
Yeah, or Shaki, wasn't it?
Correct.
They were the two.
Correct.
Well, how glad are we that we selected Jacob Wiedering? You're right. Actually, different players.
Yeah.
Bruce was more athletic, but good call. Jacob Wiedering will be
some of those traits.
Special player.
Yeah.
Special player.
Well, so you mentioned your experience, I guess, consuming footy. The radio used to be, and I remember I had a chat with David Gould as well, and he spoke about when he used to, not watch the footy before, televisions and whatnot came in. And you look at where we are today, it's not just you and the TV anymore. There's your phone, there's your stats, there's your fantasy team. What's you've seen the best of both worlds. Did you ever envisage it being what it is today?
No, definitely not. The VFL was 12 teams.
Yep.
You basically had 6 good, 4 to 5 good ones, out of stretch 6, and then you had your bottom 6. Listening to people back in that era, from the VFL themselves, it was a destiny for disaster because clubs were getting richer and others were getting poorer.
Did we not have a salary cap? Okay.
Why do you reckon we won so many grand finals?
Yeah.
But no. Look, that's been disrespectful. The good clubs sought after the good players, whether they come from other clubs, whether they come from South Australia or Perth. We had a good influx of players from both states, and they wanted to play at the best clubs, and Carlton was one of the best clubs
Yep.
of that era. Simple as that. Hawthorn was another one. Not so much Collingwood, but Hawthorn, Carlton. I remember Essendon a little bit. We were top clubs, destination clubs.
Yep.
So did I see it going down this path? Well, once the VFL didn't become the VFL anymore, and it became the AFL, who knew where it was going to go?
Right.
Who knew if it was going to work? And it's working to a degree. It's the game itself that is ever evolving, and not sure whether it's for the good, whether it's for the bad. I mean, I can show you footage, from many, many years ago that, you'd sit there and fall asleep watching a game of footy. So what I'll tell the people is that, so when I was growing up, there were 6 games of football. We all played at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
And we only got highlights of games that evening on Channel 7 and Channel 2.
Yeah, right.
Highlights of games.
Yeah, right.
So you'd only get the best quarter or a little bit of highlights during that game. And it was 3 games that they would basically highlight.
Yeah.
The other 3, you never get to see. You never get to see. So how do we know what was happening out at Western Oval between Footscray and South Melbourne? They slugged it out, 9 goals, 13 to 5-8, and they slugged it out in the mud out at Western Oval. Was it a good game?
No form guide.
Nothing. You might just see who kicked the goals and the best players. That's
in the paper the next day you'd have...
You wouldn't even see stats, nothing.
Yeah, right.
No, nothing. No, so it's... I mean, this game now is so high-tech.
Yep.
This sport is not a sport, it's a business.
Yep.
Look at what we're doing today.
Yeah.
This is unheard of,
Yeah, well, it used to be... To have an opinion, it used to be...
There's a World of Sport. World of Sport on a Sunday.
Yeah, exactly right.
World of Sport on a Sunday was the only time you'd get...
The distribution has changed.
Oh, absolutely.
It's changed.
Absolutely. So,
anyone has the ability to create anything from it,
for sure. Like we say, we've got 9 games of footy on the weekend coming up. Every week we do. And every game's live.
Yeah.
So you get to see and analyse every game live. And there's a huge amount of media who look at every game, analyse every game. They've got trackers, they've got this, they've got that, they've got the other. And the game is so scrutinised that anything you do is seen by many.
Yeah.
And exposed by many.
Yeah.
Going back
on and off the field.
On and off the field.
On and off the field.
Well, that's a good point, because off the field many years ago, they were getting away with murder.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to bring up some of the stories that I would have heard. But so from those 6 games that we used to play every Saturday, we had no idea what was going on with the other 3 games of football, so to speak. So now, every game live, media, podcasts, you name it, football shows, they're everywhere, mate. They're everywhere. And did I see this happening? No, I'll be honest, I didn't see it happening. And I think why it's happening is because everyone wants a piece of the pie. And they see that there's a little bit of that in it, right? And everyone wants to make an earn.
Yeah.
And so if they see that as ever expanding, and everyone can get a little piece of the pie, well, that might be why there's so much.
Yeah. Look, there's a 2-pronged thing. I think you're spot on. I think this is part of the commercialization of the game, the expansion of the game. The more media around the game, the more we can expose it however we want, whether you want to bring the game global or not. But on the other end, I think society has shifted as well, because whether it's a podcast about Carlton, or if you're a Smurfs fan, you used to be, and I was sort of, when I grew up, we were still in that mindset of pick one of the 22 jobs, give or take, that are on offer. That's your career, and that'll be you. And then I think, the internet happened, and then the iPhone happened, and then social media happened, and then YouTube happened. And then all of a sudden it became, well, whatever you actually enjoy talking about, putting your effort into, you can turn it into a career. And I think it's sort of, this is one of many examples of that.
Absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
whether it's footy or whatever it is. For the good or the bad, it is what it is. But
sport is so much not sport anymore.
No.
Across the globe.
Oh, no.
It's a business.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at the World Game, it's
it's a corporate game.
It's gone through the roof.
Yeah, it's a corporate game, but I mean, it'll always, because I think, I mean, for our club, for example, I don't know about you. I look at our club now. We're a corporate club.
Oh yeah,
we're
very much. We've done the cycle.
Yeah.
You know, I can quote the president without him getting upset.
Yeah.
He feels that you know, in years gone by, that we were behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
We were the last to do anything, and he doesn't want that anymore. He wants us to be, you know, an expansive club. He wants to be a club that keeps up with everyone. Actually, wants to be
Innovate.
a club that exactly.
Yeah.
So off the field, I think the club's doing some pretty good things. Now, this year, of course, everyone's going to cop a decent haircut, going to cop a big hit. But up to now and the future, they've got lots of good things, lots of good plans in place that, you know, this club should be. They're not just looking at year by year, they're looking at 10 years down the track, 20 years down the track, which is great for, you know, my grandkids, your kids, so to speak, you know, down the track. That's awesome. Well, I don't think Carlton's ever really worried about future.
Yeah, true. Is it because we always had the ability to just, we can win now, we'll top up, we're going to get the best player, we're going to get the best coach. It
Very
doesn't
true.
matter.
Mate, you have a look at our history.
Yeah.
You know, the minute Carlton didn't win a premiership or didn't make the finals, they would make sure that they would go out and find players who wanted to come to Carlton. We've got a fair list of them too over the years. I mean, just a few. You get, you know, Diesel Williams, Reece Jones, Val Perry, Barassi. I don't know, and you know, role players. You know, Matty Lappin, Dean Rice, even Matt Clappe, Bill Spalding. You know, we always went out and sought after what don't we have, what do we need, and we'll go out and get it. Now, whether it's a top line player or just someone who can fill a role, that's what Carlton did.
There was always a means to get it, and
they knew they'd get it. And they knew that they would get it. Now,
it's changed.
What we've missed out on in the last 4 or 5 seasons, look, you know, we can blame the club for missing out. We can blame Sauce. We can blame the coaches. You can blame whoever you like. At the end of the day, it's the player you're asking to come to your club. He has to make that decision in the end, together with his family, together with whoever else he has to speak to. But missing out on blokes like we missed out on Mitchell, did we not?
Yeah.
You know?
Shield, Cornelio. Shield was different. I mean, it was...
No, that's a fair comment. No, he was there. He was there for the taking. Decided otherwise. We thought we had him. I think we even missed out on Treloar. Treloar was, you know, so there's, look, 4 very good examples of players that we've missed. And we've missed a lot of players that are role players too, who don't want to come to our club.
Yeah.
Now, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's a stench about our club. On and off the field. I can't put my finger on it. I would have thought that we would have been able to capture some players in the last 4 years of that sort of ilk, but we haven't. Like, you would question right now, why did we go out and seek a Mitch McGovern?
Yeah.
When you've got a tall list in Curnow, Mackay, Casbolt, DeConning, those sorts of players. Like, why would you go out and seek out a player who is a tall forward when you don't really need it? So was it a case of, well, we've got to sign a big name?
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he probably wasn't even a big name at the time in Adelaide. He wasn't exactly setting the world on fire.
Kind of like a potential who
he's got potential. Yeah. He has. Don't get me wrong. And you know what? I hope he goes on to do really good things. But my point is, was he the sort of player that we should actually have been looking at the time, knowing that we had a tall list? That's 700 or whatever he's reported on as getting or more. Should we have been looking for other players?
Yeah.
We probably were, but we weren't closing the deal on anybody.
Yeah. When you hear about contracts and investment and the big ones, are you of the school of thought that, you know, once you sign them, that's it, doesn't matter what they're paid? Or do you look at it, well, hang on, if this is, you know, almost 10% of our salary cap in a year, I expect more?
Look, if you're on a big contract, you've got to be, I expect more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I mean, at the end of the day, we have X amount of resources to give out to get production. If we want to talk about this sport as being a business, it's literally what you're paying, what you're getting back. And this isn't a pot shot at McGovern. I'm sure there've been other players.
No,
who have
I'm
done
not.
as well,
I'm not potting him. I'm sort of questioning the club as why we actually went down that path, looking for a player like that, knowing that we had a tall. We played 3 tall forwards.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yeah.
What other club plays 3 tall forwards every week? It's not really a done thing in the league anymore. It's some play with 1 and a couple of mediums. Some play with 2. There is some that play with 3. Are we succeeding in playing in 3? Well, we don't have no continuity. We've got no cohesion. We've got none of that at the moment.
They've played 8 games together, by the way, the 3 of them.
And that's a very good point to shut me up right there. It's good. It's good to shut me up right there because I'm thinking like, they've played for years together. But you're right. Strip it back. They've played 8 games together. And this is where we need to be extremely patient. It's what the Carlton Show is all about, letting people know about a bit of patience. We're all getting a little bit impatient, me included.
Same.
It's getting a little bit long in the tooth. But, week to week, this game is ever evolving. It's a week-to-week thing. You listen to many coaches speak about their teams, and it might be, say, Richmond coming up against the Sydney Swans this week, for argument's sakes, whoever they've got, and they get asked about, should be winning that game. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, it's a week-to-week proposition.
Yep. No, it's true.
We don't know what we're going to get. Even if you're the Premier side, you don't know what you're going to get from the opposition. You don't know what you're going to get from your side. Unfortunately, the patience for someone like yourself who's only 29, who's seen nothing. You're like my
2011. 2011 was good, but that's not. I mean,
I can't remember that. What did we do?
Well, we'll kick out of a prelim.
Yep.
Murph was all Australian. He really, for me, it was.
When we went to Perth and we lost by
like my best
pushing the back to Walker.
Well, it was there. Darren Glass had his hand. He was grabbing him. I mean, for me, it was Cooter. 95. I was 4 years old, so I'm not there. I'm not.
You're
99. I was 8 years old. Not a lot of memory. And then obviously salary cap happened, and then the 3 number 1 draft picks happened, and then 2009, 10, 11. I think we made finals in all 3 of those years. 2011 happened, and I was like, okay, well, this is
next year we'll win the grand final.
This is the process. We got the number 1 draft picks. We went and got the best player in the competition. We're going to be good for a while now because we're coming and there's a future. And then just like that, round 4, 2012, Corazzo breaks the collarbone.
I remember that.
The week after, Murph runs into Dangerfield, cracks his I think it was his shoulder, and then that was it. Like
it just folded.
That was it.
Since then,
that was it.
It's been
nothing. Yeah, I mean, 2013 was nice because we got into the finals with an asterisk, Essendon.
Yeah, well, so but as good as that was, you can't even count that, can you?
No,
you can't count that.
It was a great day. Don't get me wrong.
Fantastic. It's the best day my daughter's had at the football in her life.
It was a great day.
It was loud. It was great. Come from behind. Come from behind. This come from behind stuff. But anyway, look, I believe the future of the club is not so much in the experienced players, because as I spoke to you prior to coming on, those 5 experienced players are going to be gone shortly.
Yeah.
So we need the replacements. Have we got the replacements? I'd like to think we have. Mm-hmm. Do we need to look at the draft? No. Do we have to look at trade? Yes.
Yep.
Trading is going to be all important in the next couple of years at our club. I think if you're looking at the future, we've got to start selecting some players, not necessarily your $1 million players, more so those ones that are playing every week for their side, doing a good job for their side every week, that we need. Now, whether they're getting 400 at their side and you've got to pay 600, so be it. Whatever it is.
Do they need to be I feel like they've got to come from either a premiership side or a. Because for me, I'm looking at it, and you touched on the senior bodies, and I love Simo, Murph, Cruiser, Levi, and Ed, love them to death. But there's a reality to their careers in that they don't know what it takes to win a flag, and those habits and those.
That's very true.
And so from my end, it's like I agree. I think we probably need 3 or 4 to just insert.
Wherever they are on the field, whether they're midfielders,
Yeah.
whether they're a small forward, whether they're a running halfback,
Yeah.
whatever it is, whether they're a winger. And that's fair enough. We probably have got that. But they might not exactly be ready to go right now.
Yep. And they need to be nurtured.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a good point you make. Do we go get them from at least clubs, or at least players who've had a winning culture?
Yeah.
The winning culture is one that certainly has to come to our club. Look, I think that's a very good point. A winning culture is a culture that is infectious. So at the moment, when you look at, unfortunately, and you probably know this stat, that the Simo Murph thing on Saturday night, if they happen to
break a
lose,
record.
they're going to break a record that they never thought they'd ever have in their pocket.
Simo becomes the most losingest player if we lose against Geelong this week in the history of the game.
And then as a combination, the two of them, 157 they've lost together. This week they go past, I can't remember who's on that at the moment. I think it might have been...
that hurts.
Oh!
It hurts.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that's not the Carlton that I grew up with, the losing culture. Now, it's a very good point you make that when we do look for players to come to our club, should they have a winning culture, e.g. premierships and finals? In a perfect world, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they can change the mindset of people.
The next bloke.
Yes.
It's infectious.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I mean, it's not a point that I was thinking about, but I'd certainly look down that path for sure. Now, whether you can lure them or not, I don't know. But just looking at some of the potential mistakes we've made in the last 4 or 5 years with getting players that were delisted and we tried to regurgitate them, or they were bit players at their clubs and we thought we could turn them into something, or whether they were players that were they used to play most weeks, but they were certainly in the bottom three. I think we haven't done too well in that area, I don't think, and possibly... Well, I mean, the knives are out for Darcy Lang at the moment. Maybe rightly so, maybe not rightly so. I mean, he's got... What he was showing at Geelong was good enough to come to Carlton for sure.
Especially at the time.
He's done an ankle and whatever, so he's had his injury problems, but he needs continuity, doesn't get it. I don't know. And there's others. Kennedy is another one that we brought across. He was supposed to help Cripps.
We hear about this Robin to the Batman of Cripps. We've heard about it for so many years.
Have they ever played together?
Who?
The two of them?
Kennedy.
Actually in the same midfield?
I think so. I think so.
Because we get told they can't, but have they?
Yeah. I also see, and I don't know if this is maybe a style that we're trying to create, but I see a lot of guys who are either what we think are midfielders and they get a role in the forward line and vice versa. And on the one hand, I'm like, maybe we need to be specialists and there's your 4 or 5. But on the other hand, maybe we're trying to create a versatile team that can rotate through. And I don't know what the right answer is.
Well, neither do I. But you're going well here, Terry, because you're making very good points. Because I spoke about this with a mate of mine half an hour ago. This very fact that we brought players into our side purely for their midfield craft. And not one of them are playing in the midfield.
No. Samo's a midfielder. Kennedy was a midfielder. Setterfield's an inside midfielder. Cunningham was drafted as a midfielder. And none of them play in that role. I don't know. And is it form? Like, again...
Is it size? Is it form? We need them elsewhere? But at the end, what happens is that midfield then comes down to the tried and true, which is Ed, Murph and Cripps. Which is going to work some weeks. And it's not going to work other weeks. Now, I think comprehensively, the first 2 weeks, the three of them have been beaten badly in portions of the game. Portions of the game where it meant that we got ourselves 7-8 goals behind. And then we end up playing catch-up footy. So we need to mix that up. I mean, we've got Cunningham, which, I like what he brings to the table, but we don't see it often enough. His breakout from stoppage reminds me a lot like it's Judd-like. But we haven't seen it. We've only seen it in a very minute stage. Jack Martin's come to the club. I think he certainly can go through the midfield. He's got a bit of grunt about him.
Gibbons was the other one.
Gibbons is a funny one. I've commented the whole week about Gibbons. People are saying, "Oh, he's got to go in there. He's got to go in there." Well, he actually is.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he actually is.
Yeah.
When I watch replays, he starts high half forward and goes straight in the midfield. So he's essentially your extra midfield around stoppage, virtually the whole game.
Yep.
But if people are asking for him to be in the starting three in the actual bounce downs, you don't see much of that.
Yeah.
If that's his craft, if that's what we think he's good at, he certainly hasn't done a lot of that.
Yeah.
But he is in the midfield. And as you say, Setterfield, Fisher, and these are all guys that we brought to the club. We thought they were bona fide midfielders, but they're taking their time to sort of force their way in there.
Yeah.
So that's an area that, if you're talking about future, if we can find these players that you're talking of from a winning culture from another club, and we get a couple at the end of the year, I mean, that's where they got to throw their energy at.
Yeah.
I've spoken to the president about that too, and he said they're well aware of it.
Yeah.
Well aware of it. So if we're aware of it, I think people think that, when you say things out here that, oh, gee, yeah, no, I haven't heard that one said before. Rest assured, people.
100%.
Look at me. Trust me. Our club would know exactly what they need. But you can't wave the magic wand and actually get what you want all the time.
Correct.
Like, they know.
Yeah.
Trust me. They're
professionals.
They're a lot brainier than what I am and what
all of us
people are. So I think, for me, the future of our club is in the destiny of the players who are there at the moment.
Yeah.
But, we understand that you've got your bottom six that'll be culled at the end of the year. You've got players retiring. You've got players who are clearly not up to it. So, where's our list at? How many players do we need to get us into the finals? Not being competitive. I think we're competitive. That word of competitive, we're competitive. We are, aren't we? Since Teague's taken over, you'd have to say that we've won. What have we won since 6 out of 14 or something?
14. I looked at the end of last year.
We are competitive.
We are competitive, but for me, we're now looking for that.
Absolutely. We're looking for the next level.
Competitive is 2018 was okay. Maybe they were young, small bodies, and they didn't physically have the ability to run out games and whatnot. For me, being competitive that's your job. It's a
non-negotiable almost. It's like I hear people say about effort. Effort should be a non-negotiable. Competitiveness should be a non-negotiable. But to get to that competitive level, you needed enough talent on the list. And I think we've got enough talent on the list to be competitive.
Totally agree.
It's going that next level. What's going to take us to the next level?
Yeah.
Is it on the list now? Or do you think it's 6 players away, 8 players away, 2 away? I'd venture to say, had we have snagged Canelio and Papley, that could have taken us to the next level.
Yep.
Maybe. Maybe we need a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
I'm not... Again, I like throwing things out there,
Yeah.
and people will have their own opinions.
Yeah.
And so do you,
That's the
which is
beauty of
great.
it. Yeah.
But, was it just going to be them too? You go a long way to making
I agree.
that next step.
That
next step.
You made a good point the other day. You spoke about people who talk about the Carlton, we are Carlton, success is demanded. I spoke a little bit about it. And on my end, this would be a good discussion, because on my end, it's like if we lose that mentality as a football club, and I know that they're not going out there to lose, but if we lose that non-negotiable, hey, we are a successful club, like the way I look at it, then we become a B-grade mediocre club. And maybe we are right now, but I think if you don't believe you are the great and mighty Carlton Football Club, you never will be.
Well, two parts to that. First, I'll say we haven't been for quite some time. So we don't, with that banner now, we lose that banner.
Yep.
You lose that, you lose the say to actually say that.
Gotcha.
Because we haven't been for so long. You can only go back so far before people say, but that was, back in 1995. That was back in 1987, So you kind of lose that, you lose that trait, or you lose that ability to use that line.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to ask you, because I listened to your program on Monday and your assessment of the game and whatever. So you want us to demand, get there. We should be expecting to win. We want improvement. We want to break into the finals. We are Carlton. Good club. We want to get there. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. You made a comment on the show and you said in the last few minutes of the game, you kind of hoped that we didn't get over the line.
Yeah.
That kind of resonated with me, that, you know, a boy of 29 years old still wants to inflict a little bit of pain on the team on the day, and so it didn't smooth over the cracks. That, you know what, you deserve to lose. I'm glad you lost, because now we can talk about it for another week about your poor start, your poor finish, and the cracks. Now we're talking about midfield and all the rest of it that we need to fix up. It sort of hurts me a little bit that a young man like yourself would, for a fleeting moment, now whether you did or not, you've said it.
Yeah.
No, whether you believe, you wanted us to lose. I never want us to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
And, never. And unfortunately, I'm so used to it now.
Yeah.
I expect to lose.
Yeah, and that was the point.
Yeah,
it was an uncomfortable feeling of, I think it was 6 minutes to go. We might have been level.
Level. Yep.
And I was thinking, the way I was watching the game last week, we were running all over them. And then it was like there was an uneasy feeling of, gee, if we win this,
then everyone's going to be hunky-dory.
It won't feel like a proud performance. And my expectation of being, let's have that mindset of we want to win, comes against teams like the D's, comes at those kind of teams. We go up against these top four sides, and I'm still understanding of the fact that we are where we are, and I'm just looking for it to have a crack. But yeah, it was an uneasy feeling. I've got to be honest with you. It was just an honest thought.
Did you genuine want us to lose?
Obviously not. But the thought of the win, made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you thought then we'd be talking all week about how good a win was it. We come from behind. I still honestly believe we'd still be talking about the first quarter and how poor we were.
Yeah.
And I still think I'd be saying to you, we need to fix up the midfield.
Yep.
We need to get connection from midfield to the forward line.
Fair point.
I'll say to you, great for the boys. They got the monkey off the back. They got over the line. We're all out here feeling a little bit better. We got the 4 points. We're 1-1.
Something to work with.
But, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to bring it up to expose you or anything like that. It's almost like to say to you, Terry, you also need to get a different mindset.
Yeah.
People out there need to have a different mindset. I need to have a different mindset. Not that it's going to rub off on the boys, because whatever they take out on the park, we can't do anything about.
Yeah.
But us out here, the notion of we are Carlton and F the rest,
it's gone.
I think that's gone. I think we're in a different era. 18 clubs, and I know it was a very famous captain that said that, and maybe at the time, I've gone past that now, because I understand how tough the competition is.
Yeah.
You got to respect the competition now. The other 17 teams are not waiting for Carlton to catch up.
Yeah.
They're forever. We speak about we should be beating the Melbournes and the Gold Coast and the Essendons and the St Kildas and the Footscrays and the Sydney Swans and all of those sides there. Why should we?
Yeah.
Why should we? They're saying the same about us.
Yep.
Every week we start outsiders every week.
Yep.
So the bookmakers think we're easy beats.
Yeah.
The opposition certainly think when you come up against Carlton,
Confident of a win.
They're more often than not, they're confident in win against Carlton.
Yeah,
right
really,
now.
they've got to play.
So what gives us the right to say that we should be beating these sides? I'll tell you what gives you that right. It gives you that right because we think we've got the talent. We think we've got the list, the coach, the infrastructure. We think we've got the know-how. We think we're still Carlton of 30 years ago. And that's the mentality where when you start winning, I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
When we start winning, once we start putting it on the board and winning games like on the weekend, like a game at Kardinia Park on the weekend, when you start winning games of football, I'll shut up.
Yeah. It's almost like the chicken and the egg. When do you think you're a winner and when are you a winner?
We're certainly not a winner at the moment.
Yeah, no, we're not.
But not a winner at the moment. So we can't expect anything. We can hope. We can Are you going to Cardinia Park on the weekend expecting to beat Geelong?
No.
Neither am I. I want to get to the stage where I'm honestly expecting to win the game of football. Now, all I can do on the weekend is hope that the boys bring it.
Yeah, I did last week though. I expected.
I was.
I believe
I
we're
wasn't
there.
expecting a poor first quarter.
Yeah.
Was I expecting to win? I was really upbeat. I thought we could beat Melbourne. I thought we had enough artillery in our side to beat Melbourne. I was a bit worried about the midfield. That I put that out there. I was worried about the midfield, and the midfield got chopped up.
Yeah. Do they expect to win? Did you see a team that expected to win?
Carlton?
Yeah. I don't think I did.
Maybe in the rooms, maybe during the week when they talk, but they talk too much. Our club talks too much.
It's a marketing machine.
Mate.
I love them. I love this club, but
I know that this is the new world. This is the new age. But the more you talk, sometimes the more you're digging yourself a hole.
Yeah.
We need actions. We need actions far more than words at the moment. I've spoken to the president about our coaches and players talking over the pre-season and talking in that 81-day period where we didn't play any football because of COVID. I talked to him about what I'm sick and tired of hearing is that, we want the boys to play a really exciting brand of football. We want to score heavily, and of course they want to win, right?
And we'll be ready.
And we'll be ready.
And we will be ready.
Right. So all of this has been festering for the last however many months. But I'll say it again. If I put a survey out there and said they want to play an exciting brand of footy, but they're probably still going to lose.
Yeah.
Or do you want them to win ugly more often than not?
Yeah.
What are you taking as a kid who's seen nothing?
Yeah, of course.
You're taking the win ugly?
Of course.
More often than not?
Of course.
That's what, if you ask every Carlton supporter, you'll say, let's hark back to when Sydney beat West Coast in that infamous, boring, tight grand final by a point or so, the Leo Barry one, right? Well, I think they played a couple of grand finals. It was really close. The ugly games of football, but that's a grand final, and they won by a point. Did they deserve to win? Oh, they couldn't care less whether they deserved to win or not. They got the Premiership Cup. I'm not handing it back.
Yeah.
I'll take that tomorrow.
Of course. Yeah.
So I guess, this notion that we want to play a fast brand of footy, exciting brand of footy, how are you going to do that if you can't run the ball out of the defence?
Yeah.
We can by kicking the ball. I think Plowman's a good kick, Weeding's a good kick, Doherty, these sorts of fellas, the SPS, they kick the ball well, but none of them get on your bike, run from a defence type and, get handball receives and go. So if you want to be a gun and run side, I'm not sure we've got the players to actually play that style of football. Yeah. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Again, they must know if they want to play that brand of footy, well, they must know they've got the players to do that.
Yep.
Now, what I would argue with is that we just want to win.
Yeah. Your point on the messaging, right? I get it. You've got to talk in this day and age. You've got so many media opportunities.
Ask questions, you've got to talk.
Correct. And
you've got to answer.
You've got to be positive. Yep. But the message, the overall message was we will be ready. I'm just of the school of thought, maybe the overall messaging is a little skewed and it should be more towards we've got a lot to prove. Or, not an excuse, but, we're working hard and we've got a lot to prove. But when you say we'll be ready, we've addressed the starts, we're going to come out from the outset. And the starts of the game were not something that wasn't spoken about last year and even this year. So, do we just have to not take them for their word? Doherty's words on Monday morning were, we'll be ready.
We'll be ready.
I heard it again and I was like, so what happens if they're not? At what point does, and it's not that the fans are going to change anything. No. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll raise our toes and be loud enough to make them realise, just to maybe change the messaging. But it's just, I think the messaging is important because we're hanging off every word that they're saying because we were deprived for so long. And
so why don't we hear we want to be aggressive, we want to put pressure on the opposition, we want to tackle hard, we want to, close the game, we want to close the ground up to the opposition, we want to suffocate them. I'd like to hear that sort of stuff because then I know that the boys are switched on to play a good, tough, uncompromising brand of football.
Yeah.
The minute you start talking freewheeling, exciting. All I can think of is shit. We're going to get scored against.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're going to
open it up.
We're going to turn it over, and they're going to get us on the way back. So I mean, you know, there'll be people who agree and disagree to that too. But I essentially want us to be a tough side to beat.
Yeah.
Now, do we have tough players? We've got too many nice players. I mean, I think we can start to bring in some tougher players in terms of, like, I think Walsh is a tough player. I mean, he doesn't shirk the issue. I think Stocker in time, I don't know where Stocker's at the moment, I've got no idea. Williamson looks like one who's got a bit of grunt. I think McGovern's got a bit of you-know-what in him too, but he's got to bring it. Jack Martin, certainly.
Yep.
So there might be 5 or 6 within that team that... Nick Newman had a little bit of it, but he's out for the year. So you can't be a dirty side.
No.
There is no room for that in football anymore.
But there is
you can be a tough side.
Yeah,
tough Hawthorn side.
Gold Coast last week. They came and
they
got
took it
under
up,
the skin.
They took it up to a side who won the grand
They're
final
not
2
a
years
tough,
ago.
hardened team, but
No,
they
got up in their faces.
Yeah.
I would love. I would love to see Carlton do that this week against Geelong down there. But again, I don't know what the coaches want out of our side. Maybe the coaches don't feel that we're that type of list that can do that. So they have different things in mind. You know, I think what we want is a bit of what the Gold Coast did.
Yeah.
For sure, because that can unbalance the opposition.
Yeah.
I feel it can unbalance the
Geelong
opposition.
will go into that game thinking there's going to be a point in this game where we're going to get on top of them.
Oh, no doubt. And so they should. When was the last time they missed finals?
Yeah.
They play finals every year, pretty much. So they're playing a side who is bereft of confidence, bereft of wins, bereft of any sort of silverware for many, many years, and they constantly make finals. You know, I take pot shots at Geelong all the time. And I'm a goose.
Yeah.
You know, I keep trying to pot them, yet they keep making the final. So, you know, and that's something I will tell your audience, that this propensity to sort of, and I read it on social media. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever be a social media person. I
remember the first year of the Carlton show, you were like, no,
not
staying away from there.
Now I'm a junkie. But I think what people need to do is start respecting the opposition, start respecting the competition. You know, I see people say, you know, and this is disparaging, is calling North Melbourne North. Norf. Alphabet Stadium down at Kardinia Park or GMHBA, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
these are all things that, you know why they're saying this? There's a hint of jealousy.
Yeah, probably.
There's a hint of jealousy that we're not a club that has our own ground anymore. We're not a club that is like the Shimboners, like the real, you know, Shimboners of the century, Shimboners, we stick up for each other.
Yeah.
There's a hint of... you know, they stick it to the, you know, to the Collingwoods and the Richmonds. I don't know why you'd stick it to those sides, to be honest with you. I don't know why we should stick it to any side.
It's handed down.
Well,
it's handed down.
It is. I know. I mean, I hate Richmond and Collingwood and Essendon and those sides. But there's, you know, even through the Essendon saga, they've come out of that, you know, I feel they ended up handling it quite well, and they ended up, you know, winning games of football when they had 12 or 14 players that they got from the VFL and suburbs and whatever. And one's turned into a really good player in Tip and Woody.
Yep.
So when we are disrespectful, talking about other sides, you know, whether you put it to print, whether you put it on air, whether you say it to your friends, just think about who we are.
Yeah, right. No, it's true.
What gives us the right to denigrate other sides at the moment, given who we are?
Yeah.
It's the very reason why the media keep pumping it down our throats.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's the very reason why blokes like Kane Corns, you know, sticks at the Carlton, because actually he knows he's going to get a response for each and every one of you out there.
He's a genius.
Yeah,
he's a marketing media
and he
genius.
thrives on it, and we fall into him.
And we just mentioned his name here.
Exactly. And I have fallen into him in the past, and They're very crafty, some of these people, in how they get a response, and they want a response, and we keep falling into it.
Yeah.
Because, we think we are Carlton and F the rest, and we should be this, we should be that, but at the moment we're nothing.
Yep.
At the moment, unfortunately, I think Heath Bucks said the other day on his program, what do we stand for? At the moment, we stand for nothing. Now, off field, we're trying to do some great things, and off field, they've got some really good people in positions where I think they've got the club headed in the right direction. On field, we've got some issues. We've only touched on a few here, but we've got some issues, mate. There's no doubt about that. Can that be rectified quicker than what we think? Well, I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they can, mate. I really do think in the next couple of years, this is the... Steve Silvani said to me 5 to 7. He had another 2 to go. He's got up to the 7th. He's gone now.
Yeah.
It's up to the new fella, Austin.
Nick Austin and Agresta.
And Agresta to finish off some of the good work that he's done, some of the good work that the team's done. It's been a team effort. It hasn't just been Sauce.
Yep.
Sauce gets the lauders, but it's been everyone.
Yeah.
And we've got some really good talented players. Got to harness it, got to make sure they develop, and don't leave it in the dressing rooms.
Yep.
So I think we can get there in the next couple of years, but just in terms of respect your opposition, respect the competition, because they're all trying to get better as well. And if we think we're just going to fly past them, and on our show, the Carlton show, I remember Andy saying, the dark days are over. And I think we lost our first 10 or something like that. We won 1 out of 11.
Yeah.
I said, I was talking about in our first year we did the program, I was thinking, I remember putting a side together.
Yeah.
5 years down the track.
Yeah.
And thinking that, 2020, I remember saying 2020, big year, folks, big year.
I remember hearing it.
So, I get it horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Horribly wrong. And I've got my book over there. I could show you players that I had in that best 22.
Yeah.
I think there's 1 or 2 gone.
Yeah. There you go.
Gone out of the club.
Yeah.
So never get too comfortable about your situation. It's ever evolving. I just hope and pray that the next 2 years we really get it right and we really start to make some inroads and talk finals. That's what I want. Is it still this year? I don't know. We're round 3. See what happens.
Yeah.
You expecting to play finals?
Not this year.
No, I'm not.
I was looking at 10 wins and 8 to 10 wins in a
23.
normal,
Yeah. 10 for 23
Yeah.
probably brings it back to about 7.
6, 7, whatever it is.
I think that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Will we get there?
Thing is, you've got to, because you don't play that team twice this year, so that means you've got to play, it's those top 8 sides from last year, non-favourites, those top 4 teams
you
especially.
could lose.
Yeah.
There's 8 losses.
There's 8 losses.
So out of the other 9,
Yeah.
we're expecting to win 6 or
We've
7.
already lost
We
one
want to
of
win 6 or 7 out of those other 9.
Yeah, we've lost one of them already. Melbourne was one of those winnable, against the sides that are not in that top 4, 6.
Shut up.
Anyway,
shut up, Terry. You're
it is what
depressing
it
me
is.
now.
It is what it is. But look, listen, I thank you so much for your time.
No worries, mate.
It's
No
been
worries.
a pleasure. I've learned
We've still
a
got
lot.
to finish up a cannoli there.
We
mate.
do. We'll finish that off after this. I'll give you one question. I ask this question to everyone.
Okay.
And come on, I want you to. We're going to look back on this. And, I know you were just talking about your prediction, but what's the year that we're going to win the flag? We'll look back on this video in X amount of years, and
Well, I already got it wrong once, folks. So I said 2020 was going to be a finals year. I don't think that's going to happen. So winning a grand final, we're 2020 now. Winning a grand final 3 years down the track. Is that 3 years, 2023? Yeah, 2023.
love it. We've got 3 years up our sleeve. Awesome, mate. Well, like I said, thank you, and
worries,
go the Blues.
Good on everybody.
See you, mate.
Catch you.